Hello everyone, my name is Nathan and today it's time for another episode of Oxygen Not Included. In the previous episode we prepared the basement for the geothermal power plant and we also installed a transit tube system. I kept on cleaning up a little bit in between the episodes and now we only have 16 tons of coal left. This means we need to make the power switch today. Additionally, we also have access to this natural gas geyser that we might want to take advantage of because it is quick and easy to install. All we have to do is make the room large enough for a sensor and a gas pump. And that's basically it. I'm not even gonna bother pumping the room out first. There's a nasty piece of carbon dioxide left in here. We're just gonna mix the gases, sort them out on the outside, and once we only have natural gas left, then we can disassemble the filter again. But essentially we want to power up a couple of natural gas generators in the background to reduce our coal usage. The sensor we're gonna need, simply an Atmos sensor. There it is, all open and flowing out. As for the pump, we're gonna need to build this with steel for a 200 degrees overheat temperature. The natural gas comes out at 150 degrees, which is just slightly more than we can take with gold amalgam. Yeah, plus 50 degrees are not gonna do the trick. Steel gives us plus 200 degrees. So let's place that right there. Looks like after the update of Oxygen Not Included, I do not have access to the wallpaper mod anymore. Even though the wallpaper is still here, it is still in the research, but I cannot really build it anymore. So that is a little bit of a pity. Hopefully that is gonna get updated rather soon. Let's see what we can do in terms of natural gas generators. They are also outputting some stuff, polluted water and carbon dioxide. The polluted water we can just let drop down into the pool here at the bottom. We're gonna take care of that anyways, and for now we're gonna try with 2 generators. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna replace the tiles here with mesh tiles so the polluted water can drop down immediately. We can also already do the piping. I'm just gonna use insulated piping for this, and we are first gonna go up so we can do some type of filtration. The gas that we want is gonna come down, filling up the generators. The gases we don't want are gonna go to a vent, and then I think this is the carbon dioxide output, so we can actually hook this up right away. And that means my gas filter can go here. Maybe we also need to use steel for that. No, actually the environment can cool it down. That should be fine. I'm also gonna wanna make some space for batteries, so we set up 2 smart batteries, and we're gonna take the automation wire for this, go up here to the output of the smart batteries. Finally, power. We want to hook this up to the main system here. Let me disassemble this, and with a much higher priority we want to build a bridge so the circuits don't get interrupted. We also want to connect the filter and finally the smart batteries. And now if we focus on building everything that's inside, maybe we're not gonna waste as much natural gas. We want to enable the pump as soon as we are above 500 grams. And there we go, everything inside has been built, so we want to close this off. Generator is already overheating. Well, I did not do this elegantly. What you gonna do? It's a quick and nasty build. Devon! You absolute idiot! Well, actually, I totally forgot to hook up this pump. I think I need to do this. Let me just go ahead, take a wire. We're gonna go through here and hook up to this guy. Once again, speeding up everything inside the build. Gas filter is in place. We want the natural gas to be filtered out. And then we cannot forget about the gas vent. What pressure do we have? Yeah, a normal gas vent is gonna do the trick. Though maybe to make it slightly more future-proof, and because we can, we should set up a high gas pressure vent that can go up to 20 kilograms. Almost forgot about the smart batteries. They're gonna go right there. Obviously, one thing we're missing now is a storage for the natural gas. We're not gonna be using that quite as efficiently as we're gonna be in the future. If we check our smart batteries here with the coal generators, we would like them to activate later. So let's say if our batteries drain all the way to 20%, then we're gonna activate the coal generators. Copy those settings over, and we're gonna go back down here, and in here, instead of the 20%, we want the natural gas to activate much sooner. So let's say we're gonna activate at 60%. And now all we're missing is the power connection here. Wonderful. And here, of course, I need to set above 500 grams. So the pump is pumping, and I think we might be getting rid of the carbon dioxide much sooner. Ooh, that polluted oxygen could be a problem. But you know, even then, if we catch it at some point, it's gonna go into the generators and it's just gonna damage them slightly. But you can see now the polluted water is going down here. It's probably gonna heat this up a little bit, but the main thing is we can actually make use of those generators. And of course they're also gonna power up these guys here. So that means these generators are not running, but the batteries here on the top are still charging up. And they're gonna be running all the way to 95%, which they are now. And now we need to lose power to 80%. These guys are gonna activate, and only if the natural gas generators cannot keep up, then the coal generators are gonna activate. This is gonna give us much more time to conclude the contraption here at the bottom, and we don't need to make any mistakes just because we hurried up too much. There we go, they have activated again, and if we check the coal generators, still nothing. Great stuff. Also, I've recently had some more accidents here. We can solve those quite easily by just building a couple of tiles that are gonna melt, but they're also gonna cool down the liquid here. It's just too much to actually mop up. But if we build some tiles, then there we go, copper has cooled down enough so we can use it again. The system here was much greater of a boost than I first anticipated, so I took myself the opportunity to clean the base up a little bit, get rid of everything not required. I also kept on building the sidewall here. And of course I cleaned everything up down here. You might have noticed I doubled up on the amount of generators. I also rebuilt them out of gold amalgam so they can take a little bit more heat, and I built this insulated tile so the polluted water first drops on here helps with the cooling a little bit. As you can see, we now have more coal than before, and that is mainly because we have a couple of stone hatches right there. The natural gas geyser is gonna go dormant in 6.8 cycles, so let's get to the geothermal build. Before we do that though, I would like to bring all these materials up on this tile, and to accomplish that we simply stack the tiles up. Harold, thank you very much, we can get rid of the rest, and the materials are safe and sound at the transit tube access point. I just forgot one thing, I forgot to make this an insulated tile, so we have to fix that before it melts. Okay, let's get started. Metal tiles is the first thing we're gonna need, and we need to make them out of steel. If I think about the design, I probably, let me see. Up here is gonna be the steam room, then steam turbines. So down here we're gonna prepare the heat transfer. A steam turbine is 5 tiles in width, and we still want a wall here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and on the third tile here we want to make the heat transfer happen. This is where the next steam turbine is gonna start, and so on that third tile we're gonna have another steel tile. For now we have the materials to do too, because we also need a mechanized airlock that is made out of steel right on top of our steel tiles. We then need one more metal tile, however this tile can be a different material. Let me check the overheat temperatures or the melting temperatures for the other materials we have here. Copper melting point 1000 degrees, iron 1500 degrees, and gold also 1000 degrees. So we go with iron. Next we're gonna go with insulated obsidian tiles, though they might not be good enough. Let me see if it makes much of a difference if we use igneous rock 0.02, and that's the same here. Okay, obsidian just has a lower specific heat capacity that probably doesn't matter for a steam room that should only get 200 degrees. So let's get started with that. We are gonna outline the steam room. Currently we can only support 2 steam engines. That is gonna change however, so I'm gonna anticipate that and make the room already a bit larger. I would like to make myself an access point on the left side somewhere, probably all the way over here. Why waste any space? And I want my steam room to be 3 tiles in height. Now theoretically we could move everything a little bit over and have the ladder point on this side. I think that's going to be a little bit better so we can line up with these tiles. So let me just go ahead and replan this. Said and done, I moved everything over 2 blocks. This ladder is going to go, and instead we will have this one here. This is going to allow us to place many steam turbines in the future once we have the materials. Now speaking of steam turbines, we might have to unlock them still. And I just see we will unlock solar panels with that as well. That's great. We just need applied science research, which we can already do. I wonder if we should unlock the glass forge as well. It might be about time to do that. We have this nice ice biome. We should take advantage of it. Let's build a quick refinery setup. This way we can get more steel. I might just have it set up there. To make things easier, we can give ourselves a transit tube access point here, like so. Power and power. We should be careful about this. It is much colder than any liquid I currently can store. So we want to avoid broken pipes and everything. I'm just gonna set up this liquid reservoir. Also, any melted water that potentially drops down here, we want to contain on the right side here. We can then eventually funnel it down once we also take apart this slime biome. There's, by the way, another thingy-mabob that we haven't discovered yet. Hopefully it's something good. I had to move the reservoir a little bit over so we have space for the automation. Let's try to accomplish that. We need a liquid pipe thermosensor. Thank you. That goes right there. And afterwards, immediately, we need a liquid shutoff. Now, with the biome being this cold, I don't want to risk anything, so let's assume we are losing power. That was something you guys mentioned. I should go with the more secure option, and in that case, that would be if it cannot go through the shutoff, it's going to go directly back into the refinery, no matter how hot it is, which is the better alternative than going through the cooling loop over and potentially just solidifying the entirety of my coolant. So the bypass goes into the refinery. From the reservoir, we want to check the temperature, go in here, and then if it is still too hot, we want to cool it down. We're gonna cool it down on this side, so let's use a couple of radiant pipes. I don't want to exaggerate. Let's do just 2 or 3. I'm gonna do 3 for now, and we're also gonna do a metal tile. And then as the biome heats up a little bit, we can expand the cooling loop. I reduced it back to 2 again. Expansion is much easier than fixing stuff. So now I'm continuing with insulated piping. Let's go down here and then into the reservoir. And with that, we have completed the loop, right? No, we still have to go out from the refinery. Something I would like to avoid is the cooling loop getting stuck somehow. So if we, for instance, combine the refinery this way, that would be bad. Instead, I'm gonna bridge up here and we're continuing to this pipe. So after heating up the coolant in the refinery, it's gonna join the cooling loop directly. No, what the heck am I thinking? There's a much easier solution. We go in here, then we solve all the problems. Had I gone into this pipe, then we would have had the problem of liquid not being able to enter through the shutoff, and it would have gone into the refinery even without the right temperature. Okay, now we can unpause and actually get this built. In the meantime, we've made a little bit of progress in the basement. Not too much though. Now the only thing we're going to be missing up here is the coolant. How could we get that in here? Ah, welcome coolant. So that's going to be easier than I thought. We're just going to bring this up here and fill up the refinery. Also, I would like to see some proper flooring for this. We want the temperature exchange with the terrain to cool down the refinery. I almost forgot the automation wire between sensor and shutoff. Before I forget, we're gonna install another wrap bolt generator and we're gonna fill this up with a Weezwort. By the way, we're making so much plastics from the Dracos because I shear every Draco at least once before I kill them off that I'm almost hesitant to even use the petroleum to make plastics. I mean, we can still use the petroleum for something else, like a sour gas boiler. But maybe we're just gonna stick with the Dracos and use the oil for more productive means. Okay, we're starting to fill things up. That reminds me, by the way, some of you were concerned about the germs in the polluted water. These got washed out over time. So do not worry anymore. Right now, all I care about is that we can easily fill up this metal refinery. We're gonna fill it up once completely, then we're gonna do a couple of crafts, make sure the liquid reservoir is filled up to at least 30% or so. Actually, we can already get to it. Look at that. 9 more steel crafts, baby. Let's do it. Bert is doing the honors. Let's check out the temperatures. I totally forgot to set up this sensor. If the water is above a certain temperature, let's say 60 degrees, that's what we had it before. Then we want to open up the shutoff. So in that case, it is going back into the refinery and some of it was going into the reservoir. It just occurred to me, we need to set up priorities. We cannot have both liquids going into the shutoff at the same time. So instead we will have to go down with both and then go to the center and up. And I'm gonna cut these. The question is, which liquid should have the priority? Obviously the refinery, otherwise we cannot continue crafting, right? So we're gonna set up a bridge from the reservoir to the line of the refinery and then finally the refinery right here into the sensor. This means the refinery is gonna have priority when it outputs liquid. Small correction at the metal refinery, it did not work because the output got stuck at certain moments, so I rerouted it. Now the cooling loop has the priority, meaning we will have downtimes between the crafts sometimes, but that is quite alright for such a simple setup as this, and we can see it is already functioning so that I could expand the tiles. We are still cooling down substantially, but we can just wiggle this all the way around the cold biome and basically refine materials for the next few hundred cycles. With that out of the way, we just finalized the first research here with the steam turbine. And now I want to get into superheated forging. That is gonna be cool. We have almost 600 degrees on the rat bolt generator. I think we can do this research still and then disassemble it again. Of course, by the time we do the next research, hopefully we're gonna have our laboratory up and running, which is gonna represent probably the first finalized ultimate module of this series. Our biggest problem currently is that we don't get enough lime. We would be getting that from another planetoid. The eggshells at the moment are not quite doing it. I totally forgot to kill these critters off. I had enough steel to get 4 of these setups going. I think this is going to be plenty, and we should even have enough steel for some automation wire, which we're going to need. The steel only needs to be inside of the doors right here, and then we can continue with a different material. We're gonna switch to iron, why not? And the last 2 wires we're gonna do with that material. Actually, we can just go ahead and combine this. Then we need a couple of thermo sensors. Yeah, just above the tile should be doing the trick. And with that, we already have the automation out of the way. Now we want to be careful. The mechanized doors should be open in the beginning, otherwise they're gonna keep transferring the heat into the iron tile and eventually melt it. Right, so normally I built this with an aqua tuner in mind in order to cool down the steam turbines, but we don't have that luxury yet. I do not actually mind because we can have easier solutions. However, to get a better picture, maybe let's set up the steam turbines one after another. These guys will suck up the steam and spit out 95 degrees water. In return, they're gonna produce power. If we can heat up the room to almost 200 degrees, then we're gonna get the maximum out of it. So that's what we should set the sensor to, 200 degrees. Or maybe we go a little below, 190 to accommodate for any heat transfer lags. Copy this for all the other sensors and we should be good. I'm also going to suppress this notification. We do not need to power up the doors. What we do need though are insulated pipes. I'm gonna go with igneous rock again, and we want to output the cooled down steam probably in the center of the turbine. This way it is gonna drop directly on top of the tile. Yeah, I think we're gonna do that. So for all of the steam turbines. However, right here I would like to set up a bridge so we can have a cooling loop going down some radiant pipes. I'm gonna do 3 radiant pipes per steam turbine in order to cool them down. And then we can combine them with insulated pipes. The cooling loop for the time being is just gonna come down from here. We have so much coolant at the moment we don't even know what to do with. So I think I'm gonna hijack the output here. Let's reroute this anyways. That also means we need to make our way back inside of here. Let's hope the liquid lock still holds. My intention basically is to make a giant loop all the way around the steam turbines, then come back to this spot. So it's just gonna take a little detour before it goes into this cooling loop. So maybe we're just gonna keep it simple, go straight down here. Yeah, honestly, this is fairly accurate where we actually end up, and we can connect to the loop. Then at the end, we're gonna come up, maybe go back again all the way up, and then join this guy. I will be getting rid of these pipes shortly, and then you can see it's just an extension of what we have. To accomplish this, let's also set up a bunch of ladders. Thank you very much. And so let's get to building. We have 11.7 tons of coal left. Another thing we can already initiate is set up a bottle emptier here in order to get some water in there. What am I talking about? We're gonna do this with pipes. So we're gonna hijack the pipe we have right here with our main water source, and we're gonna bring this down. This is gonna be a very temporary thing until we have enough water in the system. So in this case, I'm just gonna make my way straight down. Actually, we might want to be careful here. Who cares? Let's just freaking do it. Right here is where we are gonna input our initial water. Also here, we're gonna need ladders to actually build all of that. And before I do anything with this tile, I want to make sure we don't lose all the liquids. And we're gonna build this stopper tile. Before I forget, we should also set up the power. Let's go with our heavy watt wire. We connect all the steam turbines and then directly go up here, is my assumption. Of course, if we have liquid going through here, through the vacuum, it doesn't really do anything. Let's set up a bunch of tiles like so, and then also make sure we have a tiny amount of liquid covering the steam engines. Also, I replaced my oil water lock with brine because I noticed it transformed into petroleum. And that is a bad sign. I didn't want to end up with sour gas, so I just made a huge liquid lock. We're gonna close this off once we get the engine running, but it's still gonna allow us to get back into the steam room once we are ready to expand. One thing we should do across the board, however, is set up these tiles. We can never open up this room again, so I want to make sure all my iron metal tiles are already in place. Well, I didn't necessarily want to do it, but let's just go ahead and set up a bunch of hydrogen generators as support. We are kind of forced to do it. I don't think we're going to be fast enough at the rate we're using up the coal. And I'm also going to do another smart battery there. Hook this up to automation. And then of course another thing we can do, we just unlocked, is the glass forge. Let's build this out of obsidian. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to show you the tricks that you need to take in order to make this work. I might want to build this one over just to have enough space, but most importantly, you need to have this on insulated tiles. This is the most important step. Then let's have a look at the output. We are smelting up sand, so it's going to be very hot, therefore molten glass. We want to make sure we use the best insulated materials we have available to us, which is ceramic at the moment, and we want to travel as little as possible. So only to this spot right here. However, I want this to drop on something else than an insulated tile. You want to keep this pipe as short as possible, but most fail just because they don't use insulated tiles as a foundation for the glass forge. I'm gonna go ahead and actually use a metal tile here for the drop-off point. And since we are in a cold biome, this metal tile is gonna help us cool down the glass right away. So all we're missing for this is a vent. In the meantime, check out the cooling system. We now get the water to 25 degrees, which is why I set this to 25 degrees. And I would say this is pretty great from a steam vent. And look at that, we just don't run out of coolant. It's crazy. But yeah, let's keep going here with our alternative power, hook up the battery and the hydrogen generators. We also want to make sure we actually feed them with precious hydrogen. I'm gonna take the same settings as we did for the natural gas generators, and we're gonna apply this to the hydrogen generators so they also kick in before the coal generators. Wow, today's episode was crazy. We explored magma power, gas power, and now solar power as well. Hooray! Hydrogen generators to the rescue. We were getting dangerously low on coal. Wonderful, the glass forge is in place. Let's see just how much we get. 100 kilograms of sand is gonna get us 25 kilograms of glass. To do one solar panel, we need 200 kilograms, so at least 8 crafts per solar panel. Let's do 24 crafts and get us 3 solar panels going. Hold the phone. We still need power. Whoops. Wow, I gotta say, in terms of what we accomplished, this was a huge episode, probably also cycle-wise. If you don't mind taking a second to like the video, that would be absolutely amazing. Here we are, Devon is using the glass forge. Let's just go ahead and check out the liquid. I'm not sure how hot it is. There we go, 1900 degrees. So it is really important you don't mess this up, but it is now dropping on here and we can see it is immediately solidifying on the tile. We now have manufactured 100 kilograms, we just need 100 more and we will be able to get a solar panel. So in preparation for it, we're just gonna drag a little bit of a power cable. The solar panels will have to move once we set up the rocketry program. There it is. I think that was the last of it. Power, solar panels. One goes right there and well, we have to wait for the other ones. It's gonna have a peak output of 380 watts, so definitely a useful thing. And that is gonna allow us to take it easy with building the rest of the steam engine setup. This is also gonna allow me to end this episode with a little bit of a cliffhanger. We explored all of the power opportunities and look at that, we will be using up our hydrogen soon enough, so solar panels are gonna be a help, but that should just give us enough time to finish what we have started here. And then in the next episode we're gonna get the machine running. As a matter of fact, we should at least finish the blueprint with a couple of liquid vents there. And then of course something else we cannot forget about is the smart battery right there with a bunch of automation wires going to the steam turbines, because we don't want the steam turbines to function all the time, right? They should only feed the system if we actually need the power, otherwise we're just burning through the heat for no reason. But yeah, with all those preparations out of the way, I'm gonna finish the blueprints in between the episodes. I might also set up a couple more solar panels as we get the materials, but thank you so much for watching, guys. Thank you for the support on this series, have a great time and see you very soon. Bye bye.